YouTube channel. In this session, we will focus on the uh, process and steps for the registration of IBR Boiler. So, first we'll introduce what is meant by the IBR. And IBR is the Indian Boiler Regulations, which is formed on the 15th of September in 1950, and that is a body that compliance with the IBR is confirmed via the certifications relevant IBR uh, requirements or standards meet forms endorsed by the competent persons or boiler inspector, which is recognized by the Central Boiler Boards India. And the IBR is a basically construction code that specifies the design, material, fabrication, inspection and testing requirements for boiler and its connected parts, accessories, instrumentations. So guidelines for IBR boiler. When we consider that boiler is IBR or non-IBR. Okay. So when the boilers have uh, liquid volume or liquid hold up from the check wall of feed water line to the steam outlet wall, which is more than the 25 liter. If that comes below 25 liter, then that doesn't require IBR registration for that boiler. Okay. So first point is to that the liquid hold up capacity should be more than 25 liters or gallons. Then second point is that the steam pressure generation is above 3.5 bar gauge. If that goes beyond 3.5 bar gauge, then we have to proceed for the IBR registration or IBR approved piping and all these accessories through the IBR approval process. And in next slides, we will discuss how to proceed for the registration and what are the different steps for the IBR registration. And the third criteria is that if uh, pipeline in which the steam is carrying that having diameter more than 254 then we have to go for the IBR regulations by default. Okay, so we will discuss what is the process of IBR certification for boiler and its step. There are several steps. I just have bifurcated based on the experience and the as I have experienced in past projects. What is the procedure followed by the IBR registration and all these things. So I have noted it down here so that you will get idea about how to proceed for the any new boiler registration. Okay, step first is to registration of boiler, then second step is to design review of the boiler and its documents. Step 3 is inspection of materials. The same step 4 is the inspection of pressure parts, boiler and its accessories. Then the next step, step 5 is the qualification test for the welder who is going to perform the welding for the IBR pipelines and all these things. And the last step is to witness the performance of hydro test which is carried out for the boiler and the connected piping throughout the plant which we have proposed through the isometric for the IBR approval, and we will discuss each step one by one in details. Step first is to registration for boiler. As we all know, if we are going for any greenfield projects or we have any new boiler registration, so that comes under the category of IBR boiler, which the category conditions I have already discussed in earlier slides, which three categories explains the IBR certification requirement or registration requirements. So first step is to registration. To register that, we have to go for the IBR authority portal. Then we have to log into that portal, and prior to login, we have to be ready with some documents like they have standard template of ownership form from the company, or from the site head, or the factory manager. So based on that, we have to add the data into that ownership form, and that needs to be signed copy on the company letterhead, and along with we need some his or her identification documents, and that needs to be uploaded on the IBR portal. Then we have to pay the processing fees or charges as per the IBR regulations. Once we have done that step, the we have ordered some boiler to one of the manufacturer, any of that, maybe Thermax, Fob Marshall, or any other manufacturer which they have in expertise in the boiler manufacturing or fabrication. So they proceed at their end for the design document review. They contact with the authority which is competent to review and inspection of that documents, and the approval of the GA drawings of the boiler component, its design calculations, and all these things. Okay, then the based on the feedback received from the competent authority, they can revise if any changes in that calculation or design drawing, and then they uh, forwarded that documents hard copy through courier to the regional or state wise the CIB officer or office for the final approval, and unless and until that approval comes, the fabrication isn't started. Once they received approval from CIB, they start the manufacturing activity of boiler at their workshop. The next step is to material inspection. Once the we have registration and all these things, meanwhile we have to procure the material. What is the quantity BOQ is prepared based on the isometric drawing, that needs to procure uh, through competent or authorized manufacturer, like piping, fittings, elbow, wall, steam trap, and all these things. Once we receive all these things, we have to uh, submit its TC quantities, isometrics to the boiler inspectors, and they can arrange their visit. And normally the boiler inspector visit happens once in a month, from GADC to GADC or MIDC to MIDC, that varies, but as per my experience, they visit once in a month for particular industrial area, and during that visit they comes for the inspection of that material. They review the list of material, what is the quantity of material we have procured for the fabrication purpose. They take any random materials like elbow, flange, or walls, fittings, or pipe, any random as per their requirements, and they check. They ask for the TC. So we have to provide the TC of that particular material, and if you have you any time check the TC, that test certificate has the specific heat number which is the same punching is done on that particular pipe fitting or whatever it may be, that both the heat number should must be matching to proceed further, unless and until boiler inspector will not give any clearance to proceed for the fabrication. They review heat number, lots number, and the most important thing is the IBR approved stamp on that TC, test certificate of that accessories, because during the manufacturing stage at the vendor's end or manufacturers. They manufacture the individual fittings, and lot wise they get approved from the competent person, and seal and stamp is on that test certificate. Okay, so be careful while reviewing any test certificate prior to submit to the boiler inspector or competent authority. You first check at your end each and every item with its test certificate. Hit number should be matching there. Okay, then next step is to pressure parts inspection. Pressure part inspection is like that they review the test certificate, as I have already said. That pressure part means the boiler, the accessories comes with the boiler like safety wall, then pressure reducing station, steam trap. They review the set pressure of the safety wall as well. Then they physically enter to the boiler, they review the internal conditions, and they check the punching of boiler registration number on that boiler. And they can sometimes they can review the number of tubes passes, smoke tube boiler or fire tube boiler. Number of passes mentioned in the J drawing should be matching with the physically in the boiler. They can check there as well. Also they check for the test certificates for other instrumentations like flow meters and pressure transmitter. The next step is the qualification test of welder. They check the qualification of the welder who is going to perform the welding of that piping networks. They, and based on the certificate and the quality of welding, they provide as per form number 12 and 13, which indicates the type of welding for which the welder is the qualified. And once that they give the clearance to the welder, based on they can sometimes check the welder's welding capability on the time by just checking the route to the pipe to pipe joints, or DP test of that pipe as well, as to check whether that welding is proper or not. The next final step is that to witness of hydro test and pre-approval to startup. They and finally boiler inspector presents for the hydro test of the boiler and its piping networks. And for this particular case, as for IBR piping, the hydro test to be performed at two times of the design pressure of the boiler. Okay, and based on the performance of hydro test, they provide the provisional order to use the boiler under section 9 of the Boiler Act 1923. And this is just a provisional order, and based on that provisional order we can operate the boiler, and we will get the final IBR certificate to run that boiler is after the 6 months from the provisional order. So hope you got the clarity about how what is the IBR boiler, and what are the different steps involved in the IBR approval process, and what things need to be taken care. Most probably the things is focused on the test certificate of the most of the piping and fittings. So in next session we will focus on the isometric drawing review of the IBR, which is approved by the boiler inspector. Thank you for now. Bye bye.